welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Back here where we need you. Back here where we need you. Yeah, the tease in my life, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. All right, get a stretch. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. All right. Welcome back. All right. So hopefully that last break session was a productive one for you. For me, all right. So again, I'm working on this 3D printing thing. And the thing I'm working on that I think will be a good starter project for me because I'm using some new CAD software. And I think this next print is going to be just like cylinders, right? And because what I want to make is I got these, I talked about it before, but I got these bottle openers, right? And so I want to be able to like 3D print a design around it. So that'd be pretty cool, right? So I'm thinking that'd be cool. Now, what I want to figure out is I want to have like two different cylinders put together made up of two different materials. And so that's why I want to have two different cylinders. I'm trying to figure out the best way to like interlock them together so that they don't come apart. So I want to just like a one-time lock. And I don't have to glue it because then I have to get in all this gluing stuff. I just want to be able to just lock it, like print them, lock them, good to go. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm working on. I think I might have something. I don't know. I've been watching like these videos of other people. There was it the annul joints. Like I've been annular joints. Like for circular things, I've been all sorts of stuff. I've been watching like woodworking things. You know what I'm saying? 3D printing things, all sorts of stuff. Even like the Japanese artwork. You know, like woodworking of like being able to join things together without like glue and stuff, and it lasts for like hundreds of years. All sorts of stuff. So I think I might be getting somewhere with it. I don't know, but I want to start like CADing it up, you know what I'm saying, and getting that done. So that's the more in the real world kind of things. In the digital world, I was going through, and this is what I was doing last cipher, and I kind of got down this rabbit hole. So I figured let's go down this rabbit hole together again. And so I was checking out web.dev, right? As I'm known to do, right? And they were talking about, let me share this link. So this was the beginning of the rabbit hole. All right. I don't know. Your nose is itching crap out of me. And I don't have allergies. I don't know. I might be getting a cold or something. All right. So I'm adding a link to the site. So it'll be next to the recording of the video. But it all started here. All right. Baseline 2024. More tools to help web developers. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Maybe I'll talk about it on the show. So I was kind of scrolling through. And we spoke about what baseline was. Is where it kind of tells you where certain features of the web are at. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get like a baseline across all core browsers, like it says, on both desktop and mobile. So if the feature used are part of baseline, you can trust the level of browser compatibility. I'm like, cool. So then they have like, so here's like an example of it, right? So content visibility, you see it was baseline in 2024, it's newly available, and where it's available in the browsers, all right? And I don't think this is actual. And there's like a drop down to kind of explain a little bit more. You can learn more, right? Super cool. And so I saw this here, this baseline hyphen status widget. And I was like, wait, that looks like a web component. And sure enough, the baseline status web component also uses the web features data and is now ready for use on your own sites and slides. And it shows you how to install. It takes you to the NPM JS site. And then use the component every time you mention a feature. And so I don't think this is, I think these are just images. But so yeah, so let's say you want to know about the array initial support. So you can, like, if you're talking about that feature and you want to show it, and what's cool is it'll update itself automatically. So if you have this on your blog or website or whatever, as this thing update, as like the feature gets further and further towards baseline, it will be automatically updated in your blog, so you don't have to change it or anything. So I thought that was pretty dope. and then you can learn more. So that's kind of like where it stopped me. And I was like, oh, I can learn more. So then it took me to this blog post, right? So and this was from earlier. So the other one was from December 10th. This one I missed, December 2023, October 23rd, 2024. And so then it's about how to use a new baseline-status web component. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And so, yeah, this is another image. And it's talking about how to add it to your website and everything. So this is basically what it looks like. Baseline-status. And then the feature ID is the feature that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? And then it will create something like this. And so I went to the GitHub repo here to kind of learn a little bit more about it. And then I always like to look at the package JSON to kind of see what they use to create it. And then sure enough, they're using lit. I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. I'm a fan of lit. I've been using that before. I'm like, cool. And so then I saw they had like a demo that you could look. So an example. So here's like an example. Bam. And I saw somewhere where it was like, hey, you want to check out a demo? You can see the example code somewhere. I don't remember where I saw that. Was it under docs maybe? I don't remember where I saw it. But I found some sample code, right? And so then I created a GitHub code pen for it. And so here it is. Share this tab. So this is the code that they had. I just threw it into a code pen to check it out. And so you can see here. And so you can see baseline-status, feature ID, array. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's a drop down. And so you can see it kind of explains what that means. And then you can learn more about it, which is pretty cool. And it takes you to the actual GitHub like array for it that shows more about it. And then, so like anchor positioning or what have you. And then animation composition. And you can see same thing here, animation composition. Now, see, the thing is like now you see this absolute and sign, right? Well, it's ab sign here is the feature ID. So where do you go to get these feature IDs, right? Because that's not the same. So where would you go? So there's this other website, webstatus.dev, which I'm going to add to the list of links. And let me add that other blog post from web.dev while I'm here. All right, so here, let's say you want to know about that ab sign thing, right? So you can just type in ABS sign. Let's see where that pulls up. There you go, ab and sign. Now, if you want to click it, it'll bring you up some more information. And now the thing is, I believe you'd have to look at, you can't see it because I'm not sharing it, but in the URL, the slug. So it's webstatus.dev/features/abs abs -sign, which is the same thing that is over here. So I'm assuming that is how you find the feature ID for at least right now. At least that's what I could find. Now, so then if you have one that doesn't exist, it'll show that, hey, unknown availability. And then if you just leave it blank, like right here, then it'll show unknown feature. All right, cool. So now they also have this thing where it's dynamic. So you see they have this label in this input, dynamic feature input. Oh, my nose. Right? And that's what this is, feature ID. And then the baseline, they have this baseline status web component, dynamic feature output. So they're IDing it as that. And then you have the baseline status, right? And so I have added a little bit of JavaScript so that the browser knows what to do when it comes across baseline-status. And so I'm just pulling it from a CDN right now. You can like do npm install or whatever, but you can't. I don't think you can do npm install on CodePen. So that's why you're able to use the CDN as well. Now, a little bit of Java. So here's some CSS. Now the CSS, all it's doing is just saying like the font and like the background color of the page. And then you see the baseline status is targeting the web components because it's just like a regular element. And they're just having a margin block end, like the up in between as one rem. So if I made that like 3 rems, save it, run it. See, it got a lot wider there. All right, cool. So now for a little bit of JavaScript. So for that part that's dynamic, you see here getting the element by ID, the input, getting a reference to that, and a reference to the actual web component. Now, normally if it was just the one on the page, you could do like baseline hyphen status, as you normally get element, not get element, query, what is it? Query selector, right? You could do that with just like how you normally do it. But so they just added ID, so they added to this one. All right. Now, anytime that this one changes, right here, this input, anytime that changes, then you're going to set the attribute of feature ID on that on this output. You're going to set that attribute, the feature ID, to the target value. So whatever you put in here is going to put it this feature ID of this. All right. So let's go back to here and look up something. Let's see what we want to look up. So let's say, what page does it have? Ruby align. This first one here, right? So, and it's Ruby hyphen align. All right, I'm gonna copy that. Go back to here. Share this tab instead. There you go. And so now when I put Ruby align, and then I click out, you see it changed. That's kind of cool, like all in the browser. Now, the thing is, if you were just listing these, let's go back to the HTML. If you're just listing these, right, there's no JavaScript needed for any of this. It's just a details tag, right, to do that. So there's no JavaScript needs for that. And these are just showing like images and a little checkbox, right, and just showing text, right? So you really don't need JavaScript to do this. And so it was brought up actually in one of the issues, like, hey, could we make this like to render on the server where you don't need, because you don't really need JavaScript for this. And now this reminded me of something I've been thinking about, because I have this web component for this very site and all my other sites that kind of show what I used to create each site, right? And so this, again, like this is a detail tag. There is nothing here that requires JavaScript. And so I've been thinking of trying to figure out a way, how can I get this to be able to be just rendered on the server and is sent down as like HTML, CSS, right? So now in the issues, when somebody was asking about it, somebody actually brought up this other one, and you may know that I'm a fan of Astro, and Astro, they render stuff like when they can, like you can use web components with Astro, right? But for certain stuff like this whole baseline status thing, like we said, it doesn't really need JavaScript, right? So what you can do is render it on the server, and that's kind of like what this person did. They created an Astro component, and they have a bunch of different ones also, you can see here, right? And so so their component is just baseline status, right? And then it's kind of similar. So instead of the all lowercase with a hyphen is baseline status camel case, and you put the ID instead of like feature ID. And so it shows up like this, right? Pretty similar. Now, that code for that one is here, right? And so you can see here, so they basically do a lot of the same stuff that the web component is doing, right? But just doing it on the server, because all this stuff here happens on the server. Everything, it's called the front matter. Everything between these three hyphens is called the front matter, and it's run on the server in Astro, right? So all compiled, and then you can pass in like this baseline date title into the markup of here, right? And so that's pretty cool. And so you can see here they have the div class, whatever, and then this template shadow root open. That is declarative shadow DOM. All right. And so we spoke about declarative shadow DOM. So it's pretty cool that they have it. It's similar to kind of like what the web component is doing. Right. So they kind of just made it to fit for Astro. So it's like declarative shadow DOM. Oh yeah, that thing here. By the way, let me put the link to, so if you're using Astro, you can check out some of this Astro embed stuff, which is looks pretty cool. And I'll put the GitHub repo as well. All right. Get rid of that, did that, and save. All right, cool. So now we're here, right? So the declarative shadow DOM. And so you can see here, like you have the web component, And then template shadow root mode open, just like the other one. So it's pretty similar. Now, Lit, who makes the like the rendering framework that the baseline status web component used, they've been working on server-side rendering, right? And so they have like a whole package they're using, but right now it's experimental, right? And so I've been trying to think in my brain, how can I, just as a test, especially for like my Dwayne hyphen made web component that I showed earlier that shows like what I use to make the websites I create. I'm like, how can I get that to work? And so I'm gonna post a link to this SSR stuff as well, so you can check that out too if you use Lit and you want to get some server-side rendering going. Cool. Now I'm wondering if now this here is like a lit component, right? And shouts to webcomponents.dev. I always use them to kind of like prototype web components I'm thinking about, because they show all different kinds of like plain ones as well. It's super dope. I'm thinking now, because my whole thing is I don't want to have to, because where is this? Share this. Like this is the Astro component, right? The way it's working is that you would have to have all this stuff here in your server code to pass back. I don't want to have that. I want it to work just like with the web components that I have that you can kind of see here, where I pull in this, and that kind of, maybe not even min.js, whatever, but it pulls in like the JavaScript. So you can pull that in. You can do that in Node, right? And so I'm thinking I want to be able to somehow in my code for my web components, and again, I don't know if this will work. I'm going to try it. But so let's say if I'm using Lit or whatever, somehow tell, because you can tell if you're running in a server environment or if you're running in like on in the browser, because you can see if there's like a window object. There are no window objects in Node packages and on Node, because there is like no DOM really. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to do the declarative shadow DOM. And so it's not like you can really just target things. So if I could check to say, hey, is this running on a server or is it running in a browser? And then do my rendering. You know what I'm saying? So if it's on a server, just return, like do all the calculation stuff that I need to do, and then return that declarative shadow DOM template if it's on a server, right? And so then the server can do what it needs to do. Otherwise, you're on the browser and then it will do what it needs to do like normally. I don't know. I don't know if that could work. So maybe that's something I'll try. I'll see if I can get that working. Like a really simple project. Just as a, hey, I rendered from the server, or hey, I rendered on the browser. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. I don't know. So we'll see. That's just something I kind of went down the rabbit hole on, and I'm glad you came along with me for the ride. All right, so yeah, so super cool. All that is that because there's a super cool new web component that I was kind of like pretty hyped to see. So shout out to them. Super dope. All right, cool. Now let me get y'all back to work. Now I don't feel so bad that I not wasted, but I did some research when I should have been doing some other stuff. At least I was able to showcase that research. So it was useful for me to somehow do it. So it kind of got wheels turning now. So I'm thinking I have a direction and maybe kind of checking out where I want to do now. So that's always cool. All right. Sorry for that. Get y'all back to work. Let's see here. I'm going to send y'all off with some traveling music. When we come back, we'll take a look at an artist's website, list some tracks. Maybe you'll become a fan, watch some videos. And yeah, it's going to be holiday themed. So I'm going to let something slide since it's a holiday themed track and it's holidays area. So we're going to take a look at it. I normally wouldn't do it, but we're going to do it this time. All right. So thanks for hanging out. See you 15 minutes after the hour. Till then, I wish you much productivity. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Y'all be easy. This here is a track from Nujabez featuring Apani B. The track's called Thank You. Thanks for hanging out. See you 15 minutes after the hour. And y'all be safe. Be easy. Peace.
Let me start from the heart. I just want to stay. I think all the showing love to me. I appreciate this unique opportunity. I'm gonna rock so hard you never stop supporting me. I'm gonna show you how music is more meaning to life. I thank you all for showing love to me. I appreciate this unique opportunity. I'm gonna rock so hard you never stop supporting me. I'm gonna show you how music is more meaning to life. But let me start from the heart. I just want to stay. I thank you all for showing love to me. I appreciate this unique opportunity. I'm gonna rock so hard you never stop supporting me. I'm gonna show you how music is